Welcome to Smiley Finance, where money talks are simple, smart, and life-changing. Today, we'd be going deep into the do's and don'ts of wealth creation and growth.
Most people want to become wealthy, but very few people actually understand how wealth is created. And that misunderstanding is exactly why millions of people work hard for decades yet never experience true financial freedom. Because wealth creation is not just about making money. It's about understanding how money behaves, how it grows, how it disappears, how it multiplies, and most importantly, how human behavior affects every financial decision. The truth is, building wealth is usually less about intelligence and more about habits. There are people with average incomes quietly becoming financially secure every year. And there are highly educated people earning huge salaries who constantly struggle financially. Why? Because wealth follows principles. And once you ignore those principles long enough, money eventually disappears no matter how much you earn. That's why in this video, we're going to talk about the major do's and don'ts of wealth creation and growth, especially for beginners. Not complicated theories, not unrealistic get-rich-quick promises, just real principles that actually matter. Because one good financial habit repeated consistently for years can completely change someone's life, and one bad habit repeated consistently can quietly destroy their future. The first thing beginners must understand is this: do focus on building income first, before investing, before luxury, before trying to look successful. Income is the engine that makes wealth creation possible. Without income, there's nothing to save, nothing to invest, nothing to grow. This is where many beginners become confused because social media often glorifies investing without explaining the foundation first. People hear phrases like, "make your money work for you," but they ignore an important reality. Your money cannot work for you if you have no money left after expenses. That's why the early stage of wealth creation is often about increasing value, learning skills, improving knowledge, becoming useful, finding ways to earn more. Because the bigger your earning ability becomes, the more opportunities you create for future wealth. But here's the important part. Don't immediately increase your lifestyle every time your income increases. This is one of the biggest financial mistakes beginners make. Someone gets a raise and immediately upgrades their entire life. Bigger apartment, more expensive car, luxury gadgets, designer clothes. And suddenly the extra income disappears. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it quietly traps millions of people. The more money they make, the more expensive their lives become. So even though income rises, financial freedom never arrives. The goal is not just to earn more. The goal is to keep more. That's the difference. A person earning a moderate salary while saving and investing consistently may become financially stable faster than someone earning 5 times more but spending everything. Because wealth is built through the gap between income and expenses, not income alone. This leads to another important rule. Do learn to live below your means. Not far below to the point of suffering, but below enough that money can consistently be saved and invested. This sounds simple, but emotionally it's difficult, because modern society constantly pressures people to spend money. Everywhere you look, people are showing luxury lifestyles. Social media especially has created endless comparison. People compare cars, clothes, vacations, houses, restaurants. And many people spend money trying to keep up with people they don't even know personally. That's dangerous, because comparison destroys financial discipline. The truth is, many people who look wealthy are actually financially fragile. Debt can create the appearance of success, but appearances and financial security are completely different things. Real wealth is often invisible: savings, investments, assets, low debt, financial peace. Most truly wealthy people spend far less energy trying to impress others than society assumes, because real wealth focuses on ownership, not appearance. Now let's talk about one of the biggest don'ts in wealth creation. Don't depend entirely on one source of income forever.
This is risky. Very risky. Many people feel financially safe because they have a good job, but jobs can disappear unexpectedly. Economies change, companies downsize, technology replaces roles, and people who rely completely on one paycheck often experience massive financial stress during difficult periods. That's why wealthy people usually try to build multiple streams of income over time, not overnight, gradually. Investments, businesses, freelance work, digital products, dividends, rental income. The goal is to reduce dependence on a single source, because financial stability grows stronger when income becomes diversified. Another important do: Do understand the power of compound growth early. This principle changes lives. Small, consistent investments over long periods can become enormous, and the earlier someone starts, the more powerful compounding becomes. For beginners, this matters more than perfection. Many people delay investing because they think they need huge amounts of money, but wealth often starts small, very small. The important thing is consistency, because time matters enormously in wealth creation. A person investing consistently for 20 years often beats someone investing larger amounts for only 5 years. Compounding rewards patience, which is why impatience destroys so many financial journeys. And that leads directly to another major don't. Don't chase quick money constantly. This is where many beginners lose money. Get-rich-quick schemes, fake investment gurus, crypto hype, unrealistic promises, Ponzi schemes. The internet is full of people selling financial fantasies, and beginners are usually the easiest targets because they want fast results. But real wealth creation is usually slower and less exciting than social media makes it look. That's the truth. Most wealth is built gradually through discipline, patience, and consistency, not overnight. The problem is that patience feels boring. People want dramatic transformations, but financially, boring often wins. Consistent saving, long-term investing, avoiding bad debt, increasing skills. These habits don't look exciting online, but over decades, they create enormous results. Another major do learn financial literacy. This is critical. Most people spend years learning how to earn money, but almost no time learning how to manage money. That creates problems. Financial literacy means understanding budgeting, debt, interest, taxes, investing, risk, assets versus liabilities. Without this knowledge, even high earners can struggle financially because earning money and managing money are different skills entirely. Someone can be brilliant professionally and still make terrible financial decisions. That's why learning about money should become a lifelong habit. Books, podcasts, financial education channels, reliable mentors. The more financially educated someone becomes, the better their decisions usually become. Now here's another major don't beginners must avoid. Don't use debt carelessly. Debt is one of the biggest destroyers of wealth, especially consumer debt, credit cards, luxury car loans, impulse financing. Debt can quietly steal future income. Every payment reduces future freedom, and many people normalize debt so much that they stop realizing how expensive it truly becomes over time. Interest is powerful. When investing, it helps you. When borrowing carelessly, it works against you. And many people stay financially stuck because too much of their income goes toward paying for the past. That's why wealthy people often think carefully before taking on unnecessary debt. They understand that financial freedom requires flexibility, and large monthly obligations reduce flexibility dramatically. Now let's discuss something many beginners ignore completely. Do protect your financial peace. This matters more than people realize, because emotional decisions destroy wealth constantly. Fear, greed, envy, ego. These emotions influence spending and investing more than logic does. Some people overspend to impress others. Some panic sell investments during difficult periods. Some chase risky opportunities because they're impatient. And some sabotage themselves trying to appear successful before becoming financially stable. That's why emotional discipline is a financial skill, one of the most important skills, because money magnifies behavior. Good habits become powerful, bad habits become dangerous, and beginners who learn emotional control early often make much better financial decisions long term. Finally, understand this. Wealth creation is not just about becoming rich. It's about creating freedom. Freedom from panic, freedom from constant stress, freedom to make choices calmly. And that kind of freedom usually comes from simple principles repeated consistently over many years. Not flashy shortcuts, not luck, not pretending to be wealthy online.
One of the biggest mistakes beginners make in wealth creation is believing that making money automatically leads to keeping money. It doesn't. In fact, many people become financially unstable after earning more because they never develop the discipline required to manage larger amounts of money. Money does not solve bad financial habits. It usually amplifies them. Someone who spends carelessly with a small income will often spend carelessly with a larger income too. The numbers change, the behavior stays the same. That's why true wealth creation begins internally before it becomes visible externally. Your mindset shapes your financial future more than most people realize. And one of the most important mindset shifts is understanding this. Do think long term. Wealth grows slowly at first. This frustrates many beginners because modern culture has destroyed patience. Everyone wants immediate results, immediate success, immediate luxury, immediate freedom. But real financial growth rarely happens dramatically. It happens gradually, almost invisibly at first. That's why many people quit too early. They save for a few months and stop. They invest for 1 year and lose patience. They expect massive results immediately. But wealth behaves like planting a tree. For a long time, it looks like nothing is happening. Then eventually, the growth becomes powerful. The people who become financially successful are usually the people who continue during the slow phase. And that's difficult because the slow phase feels boring. No applause, no dramatic transformation, no instant rewards, just consistency. But consistency is where wealth is built. Now here's another important do. Do build an emergency fund. This is one of the most underrated financial habits in the world. An emergency fund protects your future from unexpected problems. Job loss, medical emergencies, car repairs, family issues, economic downturns. Life is unpredictable, and people without savings are often forced into debt during emergencies. That's how many financial problems begin, not because someone was irresponsible, but because they were unprepared. An emergency fund creates breathing room. It creates stability. It gives people time to think clearly during difficult situations instead of making desperate financial decisions. And honestly, peace of mind is one of the greatest financial benefits anyone can experience. Now let's talk about something extremely dangerous for beginners. Don't try to look rich early. This destroys more financial futures than people realize. Many people become obsessed with appearing successful before they become financially stable. Luxury clothes, expensive cars, designer brands, status symbols. And social media has made this problem much worse. People now feel pressure to display success constantly. But here's the reality. Looking rich and being wealthy are completely different things. Someone can own expensive items and still be financially drowning. Meanwhile, someone living modestly may quietly own investments, businesses, and assets that create long-term security. Real wealth is often silent. Fake wealth is usually loud. And beginners who focus too much on appearances often delay actual financial growth for years, because money that could have been invested gets redirected toward validation. That's dangerous, especially early in life when time is your greatest financial advantage. Every unnecessary luxury purchase carries a hidden cost, not just the purchase price, but also the future growth that money could have created if invested instead. This is why wealthy people often think differently about spending. They don't only ask, how much does this cost today? They ask, what future opportunity am I sacrificing by spending this money? That mindset changes everything. Now, another major do. Do invest in skills that increase your value. This is one of the highest return investments possible. Your income potential often depends on the value you can provide, and valuable skills increase opportunities dramatically over time. Communication, sales, technology, marketing, leadership, problem solving. The more useful your abilities become, the more financial options you usually create. And unlike material possessions, skills can continue producing income for decades. This is why self-education matters so much. Many people stop learning after school ends. That's a mistake. The modern economy rewards adaptability, and people who continuously improve themselves often position themselves for higher income opportunities over time. Now let's talk about another major don't. Don't spend first and save whatever is left.
Because for most people, there will be nothing left. This is why many high earners still struggle financially. Their spending expands automatically. The smarter strategy is usually the reverse. Save and invest first, then spend what remains intentionally. This creates structure. Without structure, spending becomes emotional and impulsive spending quietly destroys long-term wealth. Now, here's another critical point beginners often overlook. Do understand the difference between assets and liabilities. This concept changes how people see money forever. An asset puts money into your pocket over time. A liability takes money out of your pocket over time. Investments can be assets. Businesses can be assets. Rental properties can be assets. But many things people proudly buy are actually liabilities. Expensive cars, luxury items, overpriced lifestyles. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying nice things. The problem comes when liabilities massively outweigh assets, because eventually the financial pressure becomes overwhelming. Wealthy people usually focus heavily on acquiring assets first. Why? Because assets create income, and income-producing assets eventually create more freedom. That's the goal, freedom, not endless financial pressure disguised as success. Now, let's discuss another dangerous mistake. Don't ignore small expenses completely. People often laugh at small spending habits. Daily coffee, food delivery, subscriptions, impulse online purchases. Individually, they seem harmless, but repeated consistently over years, small expenses become enormous. This doesn't mean people should never enjoy small pleasures. That's not the point. The point is awareness. Most people leak money constantly without realizing how much disappears monthly. Financial discipline is often less about giant sacrifices and more about consistent awareness. Now, here's another important do. Do surround yourself with financially responsible influences. Environment matters a lot.
If someone constantly spends time around people obsessed with status and overspending, that pressure eventually affects behavior. Human beings naturally imitate the people around them. That's why financially responsible environments matter so much. Conversations about investing, saving, growth, business, long-term thinking. These influences shape decisions gradually. And the opposite is also true. Constant exposure to reckless spending can normalize destructive habits. This is especially important online. Many influencers promote unrealistic lifestyles without showing the debt, pressure, or instability behind the scenes. That's why financial maturity requires independent thinking, not blindly copying appearances. Now, here's a major don't beginners absolutely need to avoid. Don't let ego control financial decisions. Ego is expensive, very expensive. Ego makes people buy things they cannot afford. Ego makes people refuse to downgrade lifestyles during difficult periods. Ego makes people chase status instead of stability. And financially, ego often leads to disaster. Some people stay trapped financially because they care too much about how they appear to others. But the truth is this: most people are too focused on their own lives to think about yours nearly as much as you imagine. Destroying your financial future to impress strangers is never worth it. And finally, one of the most important principles of wealth creation: do understand that wealth is a tool, not the final goal. Many people chase money believing it automatically creates happiness. But money mainly does one thing: it increases options. It creates flexibility. It reduces certain stresses. But if someone lacks purpose, discipline, emotional control, or inner peace, more money alone will not magically solve those deeper problems. That's why some wealthy people are still unhappy. And some financially modest people live deeply fulfilling lives. A better financial life should support a better overall life, not replace it. The ultimate goal of wealth creation is not endless consumption. It's freedom. Freedom to make choices calmly. Freedom from constant panic. Freedom from survival mode. Freedom to spend time intentionally. And that kind of wealth is usually built slowly through discipline, patience, self-control, and smart decisions repeated consistently over time. Not overnight success. Not flashy lifestyles. Not pretending to be rich online. Real wealth is often quiet. But over time, quiet discipline creates powerful results.
If this video helped you see money differently, subscribe for more videos about financial freedom, investing, wealth psychology, and building a better future one decision at a time.